Vut bo en hung dao ly ram doi di. Mot con kai gia sap tat lat mat sun gao man qua on bang mot tsai chet song ton bao de q mot sin men xa la. Ku soc hong dai o don ket byuk on fi nin no. Con nuoi chung ta luk now kung tu. Ko bao geo on tu hoi, ton bo en hung hok thuyet sao rong be, tinu vio ju kien, ma loi nuoi chung ta van thuang gay mi tren kak buk dien gia, rot kuok lai chi la emotilop vo boc tam hai. Chung ta tu vio nguk sung ten la jong loi thuang dang, so hu tri Tuesday cam suk bac not han tin, lam hung van bo phim chi de dung moi mom sien goi su hai sin qua chin jong loi min. En hung chien gsezara nu toilet by engwa va nem tang veo mat on mmot su that ton nan, rang tat ca nin kio han mak vest, deo rolex I vua by tat lat mat bio imot by hok dao don not, hong dai not, den tu, emoticon kai dut sai sap byuk sang dok ben kia qua kuok doi. Mot bien nam sao trong rung tam, emotiku tat dap tan moi about sao qua hok ko con, va sin men long la chuan by din nia lai cho on beat the now la, tu by, kok leak den ron nuoi. Dung voi roi mat, vien hung gi on sap ne dui de se la tran ton bo su ich ky ma chung ta van goi la tinu, byuk on fi nindo theo doi den tan ga foot koi kung de chung kien mot tsai ket ton bao and hung lapland den nguai suc tuong tuong. Von Nguyen Chan 03 Men Chow Kui 6 Ba Kak Ban. Nu on Thay en Hung Gok Nin Lot Zak Tu Due Nu the Nai Quan Hut, Dung Tik Emotilut Dang Ky Kenda Ung Ho Twa Kodam Dong Luk Tip Tuc Dao Sao Va Mang Den Cho on en Hung Video Chat Luong, Nak Nuoi Va Gai Gok Han Nua Trong Tuong Lai Ne. GOT, He Koi Boat Sai Vo Boc Van Min Nac Mui Formal Qua Gioi Hok Gia Fong. Mai Lan Di. Nan Vat Chin Qua Chung Taham Ne Kong Phi La Mot 6 Nan Duok Ghi Dan Su Sach, Kong Phi Mot Tri Gia Dac Dao, Ma La Amina, Mot Dai Tai, Kai. Lung Bac de 38 Tuoi. Trong Tsai the Gioi Tu Nin De Ray Lut Rung, 38 Tuoi Dong Nia Voi Vik Moi Thursday de Chuan by Dap Chiu. Ko Bap Neo Chung, Fan Xe Kong Kon Ben Nai, Va Quan Trong Not, Gon Lua Sin Hok Due Tri Noi Jong de Hon Ton Tat Lim Tu Lao. Dang Lo Ra, O Tsai Jai Don Hu Tri Nei, Amina Chi Vik Nai La Ke, Tan Hong Su Yen Ben Va Cho Gay Chin Tup Dang Zut Koi Server Tre Dat, Dan Hung, Tao Hoa Loan Ko Kach Quang Veo Mat Chung Ta and Hung Ku Kwe Xe Kaith Let Not. Nai Tai Thoi Kok Tin Lang Not Qua Tuoi Jia. Kai Moi Ban Nong Sin Tun Va Huk Mon Lam Mida by Triet Tu, Amina Lai Quiet Din Tu Kien Emot Thuong Vu Dao Tu Cam Suk Mao Him Not, Vi Logic Not Lich Su Rung Zan. Tua Kong Dung O Day De Tao Tao Bat Tuet Nu Emotit Sai Mai Dok Tai Lu Sin Tai Hok Not Neo. Tua O Day Bang Tre Tim Qua Emotiku Quan Sat, Xe Tok and Hung Bang Thong Ku Vo Han De Kung on Buk Tang Veo the Gioi Noi Tom Jong Bao Qua Emot Sin Men Kong Lo. Hey Tam Quain Di Tsai Thoi Quen Can Do Dong Dem Van Vat Bang Lang Kin Tuk Dung Qua Loi Nuoi. Hey Thursday Emotilon Tin Lai, Nin No, Gat Bo Soon Gao Man Va Nin That Sao Veo Doi Mat Han In Vet Gon Loi John Qua Amina. Lu on Ko Du Ban Lin De Doi Dien Voi Su That Dang Gat Nai Kong, Rang Doi Kai, Chin and Hung Ku Hong Da Chu About Geo Beat Dung Moi Mong De The Non Hen Bien, Lila and Hung Nuoi Due Not Trend The Gioi Nai Nam Ju Duok Thursday Tinyung Win Tui, 6 Dai Va Bo Qua Din Na. To truly understand the magnitude of this primitive love, we have to rewind to the exact moment Amina's fading world collided with a fragile, doomed existence. It was a dreary, unforgiving afternoon in the dense heart of the jungle, not that the concept of time matters to a moving troop of silverbacks. The family unit was migrating, instinctively leaving behind anything that could slow them down. Among the damp, rotting foliage lay a tiny, shivering lump of fur. It was an infant, barely a few weeks old, orphaned perhaps by a sudden leopard strike or a swift, silent disease, now desperately clutching the cold mud. By all the merciless laws of Darwinian evolution, this infant was already a ghost. The dominant males ignored it entirely, their eyes fixed on the horizon. The fertile females, aggressively protective of their own genetic investments, stepped right over the dying creature without breaking stride. Empathy, you see, is an incredibly expensive luxury in the wild, a calorie-draining liability that nature rarely tolerates. Then came Amina. With her arthritic joints, graying hair, and depleted energy reserves, pure logic dictated she should keep her head down just to survive the march. She had no milk to offer.
The wind whispers
she had absolutely no evolutionary imperative to ensure the survival of another bloodline. Yet, she stopped. She didn't just cast a fleeting glance, she observed with a haunting, quiet depth. I want you to picture this vivid scene, a 38-year-old titan, a creature built by nature for raw, brute force, gently reaching down with calloused, leathery fingers to scoop up a stranger's child. She pressed the freezing orphan against her massive chest, offering the only currency she had left, her fading body heat. It wasn't a calculated move, nor was it a glitch in her neural wiring. It was a blatant middle finger to the survival of the fittest. She took on a crushing burden that offered zero biological return on investment. As the troop moved on, leaving her lagging behind in the dangerous shadows of the canopy, she didn't care. She was a mother again, not by the dictates of estrogen or instinctual programming, but by a conscious, almost terrifying choice. This was pure, unadulterated compassion, the exact kind of selfless devotion we humans love to write epic poems about, yet rarely practice when the stakes are actual life and death. Yet, as beautiful and rebellious as that choice was, the jungle does not forgive those who break its cardinal rules, and Amina was about to pay a harrowing price for her compassion. Taking in a dying orphan is one thing, keeping it alive when your own body is a rapidly failing machine is a completely different, waking nightmare. Without the ability to produce breast milk, Amina was forced to become a desperate inventor. She spent agonizing hours meticulously crushing soft fruits, hunting down rare, water-rich stems, and pre-chewing fibrous vegetation into a digestible mush that she could pass directly from her lips into the infant's hungry mouth. It was a painfully slow, exhausting daily ritual. While the rest of the troop rested in the midday heat, Amina worked. While they socialized and groomed each other, reinforcing their bonds, she was forced to forage double the amount of food using half the energy. The physical toll was devastating to witness. You could literally see her spine becoming more pronounced week by week, her once mighty shoulders slumping under the invisible, crushing gravity of age and chronic sleep deprivation. But the real torture came from her own kind. Gorilla society is strictly, ruthlessly hierarchical, and a barren, aging female dragging around a useless, unrelated orphan is viewed as dead weight. The alpha male, a massive and brooding silverback, made his extreme displeasure known daily. He would aggressively mock-charge her, shoving her away from the prime feeding grounds and forcing her to scavenge the scraps. The other adult females shunned her completely, deliberately denying her the vital, communal warmth during the freezing, rain-soaked nights. Amina became an absolute outcast within her own family, forced to endure the biting cold and the constant, gnawing anxiety of predation entirely alone. Every single time the troop moved at a rapid pace to escape a territorial threat, Amina had to drag her aching bones at double speed, clutching the infant tightly to her chest while her lungs burned and her heart threatened to give out. She was literally burning her own remaining life force to fuel this tiny, insignificant creature. There was no camera crew to applaud her bravery. No human rights committee to hand her a medal of honor. There was only the mud, the biting insects, and the soft, rhythmic breathing of a baby that didn't even share her DNA. This is the exact point where our arrogant human logic completely shatters. This relentless, silent devotion inevitably placed Amina on a catastrophic collision course with a moment that would test the absolute, breaking limits of her failing body. The wet season in this unforgiving part of the world isn't just weather, it is a biblical punishment. One evening, the sky tore open with apocalyptic fury, transforming the forest floor into a treacherous, rushing river of mud and shattered branches. temperatures plummeted to near freezing in a matter of minutes. For a healthy, prime-age gorilla, it was miserable. For an exhausted, 38-year-old outcast carrying a fragile infant, it was an inescapable death trap. As the storm reached a deafening, terrifying crescendo, the main troop huddled securely under the thickest part of the canopy, forming a tight, impenetrable wall of fur and muscle to share their collective body heat. Amina, violently pushed to the fringes as always, was afforded no such luxury. She found herself backed against the hollow of a rotting, dead tree, the freezing rain lashing at her skin like icy whips. The infant began to cry, a weak, raspy, pathetic sound that signaled its core temperature was dropping to a fatal level. Amina knew exactly what that sound meant. You could see the desperate, heartbreaking realization settle into her dark, sunken eyes. She had nothing left to give. Her fur was completely soaked through, and her old bones were rattling with a deep chill that had seeped into her very marrow. So, she did the unthinkable, she stopped trying to protect herself. Amina curled her massive, shivering frame into a tight, perfect sphere around the baby. She buried the infant deep into the only dry, warm patch she had left, the crook of her belly and thighs, and deliberately turned her own broad, highly vulnerable back to the unforgiving storm. She absorbed every single drop of the freezing onslaught, acting as a living, breathing, biological shield. The agonizing hours dragged on, each passing minute draining a precious fraction of her fading heartbeat. Leopards prowled blindly in the darkness, the storm roared with deafening rage, but Amina remained a motionless mountain of defiance. She wasn't just surviving the night, she was actively, consciously trading her remaining hours on this earth to purchase the infant's tomorrow. When dawn finally broke, painting the bruised, battered sky with a sickly gray light, the storm had passed. But at the edge of the clearing, slumped against the hollow tree, the mountain did not move. The mountain did not move, but beneath her cold, rigid embrace, the unmistakable stir of a new morning proved that her ultimate sacrifice was not in vain. As the alpha male cautiously approached Amina's still, lifeless form, a tiny, bewildered face poked out from beneath the fortress of her frozen arms. The infant was completely dry, perfectly warm, and fiercely alive. Amina had successfully passed the baton of life, not through the biological, selfish imperative of spreading genetics, but through an act of supreme, conscious, and deliberate will. Her mighty heart had finally stopped, but the breathing legacy of her defiance was staring right back at us. Let that monumental truth sink into your brain for a moment. Strip away your civilized arrogance and your designer clothes. Stop pretending for a second that unconditional love is a purely human invention, neatly patented and refined in our literature, our movies, and our air-conditioned therapy sessions. What Amina demonstrated in the brutal, unforgiving, blood-stained theater of the wild is a level of pure altruism that most humans will never achieve in an entire lifetime of comfortable, risk-free existence. She didn't write a tax-deductible check to a charity. She didn't post a virtue-signaling status on social media to garner cheap applause. She gave her actual life, bleeding out her warmth in the dark, in the freezing rain, for a child that owed her absolutely nothing. This is the harsh, luminous, unapologetic truth of the wild that modern science desperately struggles to categorize in its neat little spreadsheets. It's a violent, beautiful reminder that the capacity for profound, earth-shattering sacrifice doesn't require a highly evolved neocortex or a moral compass dictated by ancient religious texts. Sometimes, the absolute purest form of humanity isn't found in human beings at all. It is found in a 38-year-old, arthritic, outcast gorilla who looked at the ruthless laws of nature and decided that another life was simply worth more than her own. As you go back to your day, mindlessly scrolling through your glowing screens and navigating your safe, predictable, insulated lives, I want you to remember Amina's choice. Let her story be the heavy sledgehammer that shatters your preconceived notions about nature, about beasts, and about what it truly takes to love without conditions. Because out there, deep in the silent, shadowed depths of the jungle, the gold standard for compassion hasn't just been met, it has been set terrifyingly high. Amina's extraordinary journey serves as a powerful testament to the boundless capacity for empathy that exists far beyond the confines of human civilization. In a ruthless environment where every ounce of energy is meticulously calculated for survival, this aging, outcast silverback defied the very evolutionary laws that dictated her existence. She chose the crushing burden of raising a doomed orphan, enduring daily humiliation, physical deterioration, and unimaginable isolation from her troop. Ultimately, when faced with the violent fury of an unforgiving storm, Amina did not hesitate to trade her remaining life force to shield a fragile creature that shared absolutely none of her DNA. Her story completely shatters the arrogant assumption that unconditional love and altruism are exclusively human traits. Instead, it reveals a profound, luminous truth: the purest form of sacrifice requires neither intellectual moralizing nor societal applause. It requires only a heart willing to bear the ultimate cost for another. Amina's rigid, lifeless body beneath the morning sun stands as an eternal monument to defiance, a deliberate rebellion against the cold indifference of the wild. It leaves us to grapple with a heavy, humbling reality. The jungle, often viewed as a theater of merciless competition, was the stage for an act of compassion so pure it eclipses our greatest human epics. Her legacy continues to breathe in the life she saved, echoing a timeless challenge to our modern sensibilities. The ultimate lesson drawn from Amina's sacrifice is that true compassion is inherently inconvenient, costly, and completely selfless. Real empathy is not a passive emotion felt from a safe distance, nor is it a calculated transaction where we expect gratitude or a return on investment. It is a deliberate action taken when the stakes are high and the personal cost is heavy. In our modern society, it is incredibly easy to practice convenient compassion, dropping a spare dollar, sharing a tragic post, or expressing sympathy from the insulated comfort of our glowing screens. Amina teaches us that the highest form of love requires actually stepping into the storm for someone else. To apply this to your daily life, start looking for the vulnerable in your own environment, those who are marginalized, struggling, or left behind by the relentless pace of modern society. It means offering your time to mentor a struggling colleague, actively supporting a friend through a dark depression even when it drains your own emotional energy, or standing up for someone being ostracized, regardless of the social backlash you might face. We must practice giving without the expectation of applause, transforming our empathy from a fleeting feeling into a fierce, actionable shield for those who need it most. Do you believe true, unconditional sacrifice is still common in our modern human society, or have our comfortable lives made us too selfish? Please kindly drop your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section below. We would love to read your answers so our entire community can discuss and learn from each other's viewpoints. If Amina's story moved you, please hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Your subscription gives us the vital motivation we need to continue researching and creating more deep, impactful, and high-quality content for you.